Okay, Carmel, I couldn't find a video that I liked well enough, so I'm going to make my own. So I have both my two dogs, Nani and Camus here, and I'm going to show you how I would go about desensitizing these guys to a muzzle. It's going to be a little different with you and Akira because both these dogs have gone through what's called a trained retrieve because I taught them both to retrieve birds, so they've already kind of learned how to accept having their muzzle handled, and they didn't have an issue to begin with, but this will give you an idea of the process. So the only muzzle I have is it's called a Baskerville muzzle, and I think this is the same brand that I have recommended to clients in the past because it does have, you can see, a pretty big hole here for me to be able to feed treats through, but it's still going to protect me from getting hurt. The muzzle is supposed to actually fit this way. This little strap goes on top, so I can actually, or it's meant to be, have this strap threaded through and go around their neck. Wait, no, that's not right. Disregard that advice. Yeah, no, that was right. Okay, so it's supposed to go through this little strap and connect on the neck of the dog. That keeps this sitting on the top of their head. And you can clip this as well. So initially I want the straps open as much as possible, so I'm actually probably going to start this with the muzzle upside down. So I open the piece a little bit so the straps are out of the way. I'm not going to use peanut butter with these guys because I know they're going to be really easy, but you can start with peanut butter and just smear it here on the inside to further her pleasure, I guess, with the muzzle itself. So initially, all I want to start with is make sure that I can handle their face a little bit. And this should be easy for you to work on with Akira. This stage will not be something that I work through yet, unless we have her wearing a muzzle first. But what I mean by being desensitized to having their muzzle handled is initially when I work with these dogs for a retrieve, I had to teach them to accept having their face held still, and so Camus knows that she can't struggle and fight my hand. I'm just gently holding her, and she'll wait here patiently until I say that Y word. Yes, good girl, because she knows that if she struggles, I'm just going to hold on a little tighter and hang in there. Nani hasn't had quite as much work because she's border collie. I didn't intend on doing a lot of hunting with her, but I did initially use her as my bird dog, so I had to go through a kind of a brief trained retrieve with her. So she's a little more sensitive than Camus and doesn't quite like her face handled. I don't know if you can see, she's kind of lifting her lips. She's not snarling or growling, but she doesn't like it. She does know, though, to accept restraint, so she's holding still, yes, until I say that word, and then she pulls her face loose. If you can go through this step with Akira, that would be useful, because that's what we would have worked on with her as a puppy. Now, in a minute, I'll bring in a puppy that I have with me that is going through a trained retrieve process, and I'll show you what that looks like with a really wiggly puppy, or a dog that hasn't gone through this process before. They fight you, they kick their head around, they'll try and pull their muzzle out of your hands as much as possible, and all I'm doing is I have one hand underneath and I'm loosely resting 4 fingers on the top of their nose. With the puppy who struggles, I'll just kind of hang in there with them. Yes. And the other important thing is when I say yes, I'm not pulling my hands away from their mouth. So I'm not saying yes and going this. I'm saying yes and letting the dog pull their face away from my hands. That's one of the things we need to teach Akira, starting with you and Tom and then working towards strangers, and that's why we want a muzzle on her. I mentioned that, you know, handling her paws is very much the same kind of issue, teaching her to accept, good girl, being handled. Both these dogs know how to shake and wave, so they're going to offer their paws, but Nani doesn't like having her hand held because she has a injury here, so she's a little sensitive. You can see she fights me a little bit, but she knows, again, that if she fights me, it's gonna be worse. I'm not gonna let go. I'm gonna stay and hang in there. So this is how I get them used to being handled for trims. I'll grab their paw and just hang on. You can see she's pulling a little bit. And I'll wait until she stops. Yes. And then I'll let her pull her paw out of my hand. Candace, can I see your paw? No, not sit. Candace. They're offering tricks because I've been doing tricks so much with them. Good girl. Good girl. So she struggles a little bit. I just hang in there. Good. Good. Yes. And I don't say yes until she's calm for a couple of minutes. So starting with these can really help Akira. Now, muzzle training. I'm going to start with Nani because I think she's going to like it less. I think she's going to be a little bit more like Akira. So I'm taking the treat through this big opening here. I'm not using peanut butter like I said. So I'm just holding the treat in there. Yes. And when Nani sticks her nose into the muzzle, I'm saying yes and letting her have that treat. I have to kind of stick my fingers in a little further than I would like. Good girl. Yes. So she has no problem sticking her nose in the muzzle. Now I'm going to see if I can get her to... Good girl. Good. 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 Yes. Now that one I wanted her to keep her nose in there a little bit, so I had one big treat that I broke into pieces and delivered them one right after another, 3 in a row, as long as she kept her face in there. This is where the peanut butter is going to come in handy because it's going to take them time to lick the peanut butter out. And so while they're licking the peanut butter out, you can be putting the strap over, yes, and marking yes. And I've not ever done any muzzle work with these guys. Yes, good girl. So now I'm going to try and, I don't know if I can buckle it upside down, we'll see. Good girl. Good girl. So I'm going to try and not really buckle it, I'm just closing it. Holding on there. Now I'm going to buckle it. Now I'm progressing really fast with Nani because she's not showing any major signs of stress. This obviously doesn't fit her. This fits Candace's nose, not hers, and it's upside down. But she's not panicking or showing any signs of stress. So now I'll take it off, and that'll be the end of our session with Nani. Yes, good girl. Candace, sit. So I'll do the same with Candace, who's a little more slow and less food motivated. Yes, good girl. Yes. Oops, that didn't quite go over very well. And again, we're using really, good girl, high value treats. Good. I'm just going to hold that onto her face. She's a little, you probably can't see it in the video, she's not majorly stressed, but a little uncertain about what's going on. Yes. So here the reward was me taking the muzzle off her face. I don't know if you noticed that. The reward doesn't always have to be a cookie. Good. Oh, good, you got your nose through. Oh, that broke into a couple pieces. A little uncertain about this stage, but I know with this dog I can progress forward a little bit more than I would with Akira, because she's my dog. Good girl. Whoop. Uh-oh. What you doing? Good girl. And then I'll take it off, and that'll be our session for today. The next time I do this, whether it be today in a couple hours or tomorrow, I'll leave it on them and let them wear it around the house, or I might actually put it on the right way it's supposed to go. But that's how I want you to introduce it, maybe with some peanut butter. She should like the muzzle. We want her, I don't know if you see how Nani's like actively trying to see what she can do to get the treat instead of Camus, but she should kind of be, good girl, actively, yeah, yes, pushing her nose into that muzzle, liking it.